Well, I think the Rocks is, I mean, like, it's a beautiful, like the Harbour Bridge. It's really nice to walk around. It's a really versatile venue for food in particular. You've got, you know, all type of food that are represented at the Rock.
Providing good food at an affordable price point in the Rocks was something we really was the mantra of what we wanted to do at Baroque, and we always were expanding here, and it just got too much to cope with out of this small heritage space at La Renaissance. So we were looking at spaces where we could do an off-site commercial kitchen, and one popped up in the Rocks, which was a big site, and we realised we could put a commercial production kitchen in there for the pastry side and also do a French bistro, which was always a dream of my late father, Pierre. I think it's popular because people know what they're going to get. They know the tradition of quality at La Renaissance. They know what they're going to get up there. They're always going to, you know, and the quality is ubiquitous across both venues, which is what we really like to achieve.
Well, I think in France, really, what we're quite particular about is the technique, more so than the flavors and the looks. I mean, of course, it's critical to what we do, but technically it has to be right. And this is really what people, our pastry chefs, look upon each other's at, you know, what is happening. Lately, macaron is really good because macaron is actually pushing it, you know, a little bit further. It's actually a lot more technical than it looks. It's a small biscuit. It's not that easy to get right together. The finer part of it is a bit subjective, of course. Everybody's got their spin on it. That's a normal thing. This being said, it is a biscuit. There's a few things you should need to look out for. It should be smooth on the top, a nice little foot, and then of course should be soft on the inside, nice and pillowy on the inside, and the filling should be able to melt very quickly in your mouth, and it'll be crunchy on the outside. Macaron is really about the filling. Filling is really important. So all I've got here is 250 grams of the passion fruit puree. Take the seeds out. We've got half a kilo of the milk chocolate here, and we're going to start to put the passion fruit puree inside the chocolate so we don't overheat the chocolate itself. And just make a paste. Just let it cool down before you put any of the butter or the other ingredients. In here, what I've got is 40 grams of glucose. Now, what glucose does is it retards the crystallization of the ganache. So you just put it inside your ganache, put in your butter, 90 grams of butter that you put inside. The reason we put butter is because it's got a much lower melting point than cacao butter. And then you finish the job with an immersion blender. This is actually what does the trick. A ganache has to be emulsified if you want to get the best out of the texture. You put it on high speed, make sure the head is inside, and keep rotating your bowl. Has been emulsified. You put this into a gastronome, which is those containers. Don't put it in the fridge. You just cover it up with a plastic sheet, leave it outside. Within half an hour, it will look like this. What you see that the ganache is actually ready to be piped. It's not crystallized, it's just gently set together. Once it's done, just start on your shell, which is what we're going to be doing now. What I've got in these containers here is almonds and pure icing sugar. It's pure icing sugar. Put it into a food processor. When it is ready, is when you bind it together, it should stick together. Put it inside your mixer. What I've got here is 120 grams of egg white. Put it into the mixer very gently. Let it mix. This is powdered color. Powders are better. Put your powders. That's going to be nice and bright. And all you have to do here is let it mix. There's really no trick to it. So the powder is ideal for that because it scrapes the sides. There's no lumps. Step number one, done. Take it out, and it's really, 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 well, pasty for a paste, of course. And that's what you want. You don't want it too soft. Take a scraper and get this paste out into a larger container so you can set your meringue up for the next stage of your macaron process. Because you've got egg whites inside of this and quite a lot of dry goods, it tends to crystallize or to dry very quickly. So what we do, take a little towel, we just put it together, just cover it up, put it aside. This time around, we're gonna be doing a meringue, so we're gonna have to whip our eggs. 120 grams of egg white. So for the egg white, all you do, you reset your mixer, you put your whisk, and you're ready to go. So what we're going to do now is actually go about cooking our sugar. Get a small pot, put a little bit of water, usually the equivalent to a third of the weight of the sugar, 300 grams of sugar inside of it. So what we're doing now is cooking the sugar. By cooking the sugar, what I mean is actually we're going to bring it to a boil. Don't get daunted by it, it's very, very simple. So of course here, what we see is the syrup starting to boil. And then I'm just going to grab some sugar and see what temperature it is simply by looking at the texture. what we do here is bring some of the sugar in the ice, and as you can see here, I can make a soft ball, meaning that my sugar is actually ready. All you have to do here is take your sugar and drop it in a mix. Of course, what you end up with, a beautiful, shiny meringue. So we have got our paste that we did earlier, so it's nice and soft. Same thing, got the meringue. The only thing you need to do there before you finish is mix this into that. Simple. All you do is lighten up your almond mix. When it gets to a point where it's actually quite soft, use a rubber spatula. Just make a streak on the top and shake your bowl. All the almonds sink on the bottom, and you want to see that the streaks are getting a little bit softer. So what we're going to be using is a piping bag with a nozzle 1 centimeter. Number 10, number 11 is really what you want. Put a bit of the mix, and a tiny bit is enough. To pipe your macaron, lean over, and then just pipe. Very simple. We're going to be putting luster powders. Those are the same thing that you actually have in ladies' makeup. So you get a nice little luster to it. It's a nice little finish. So now we are happy with the finish. Whatever you decide to put, we're going to put it into the oven. And usually 150 degrees for about 22, 23 minutes, anything between 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so now we've let those macarons cool down nicely, and really the exercise here is to actually find two which are of course a similar size. It's bound to have some irregularities, especially when you start piping a bit bigger, a bit smaller. It's not a big deal. So all you do is you go back and forth, you put one up, one down. This is going to be the little lid, this is going to be the bottom, and they're going to work well together. So you put about 10 grams of ganache per macaron. Take your ganache, and then all you do, pipe a nice little round thing. It doesn't matter if you got a point on the top, because really you're just going to put a little lid on the top. And now you just take your macaron, put it together, and fold it in. So that's it. Put it in the fridge, and it's ready to eat tomorrow.